Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hi, Red O'Loughlin here on the USA Global TV and Radio Network in participation with the E360 TV network. We're on the Talking Heads program. We've been spending the last several weeks, I think 6 weeks, 7 weeks, on what are the health trends, what are the hot topics for wellness in the next year, 2024. And we look at health and wellness, we talk about them, but let's get into more detail. First, let me pull up my slides and make it a little bit easier to talk today. There we go. Okay. As a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, never have been, never worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I have a passion for chemistry. I fell in love with it in sophomore year in high school, got a degree in it, unable to practice as a chemist because I got an invitation to Vietnam. By the time I got back, that part of my career was over. I ended up in a different field entirely. But 10 years ago, my wife had developed breast cancer, was going through chemo. And at that point in time, as a caregiver, I said, what can I do to help? And so I started just wandering into these medicines that she was taking. And I kind of developed a focus on what's going on, what's causing this to happen. How can I break up this chemical reaction? And from that, I started developing this cause and effect relationship focus that I have. If you treat a cause, you can generally fix a problem. If you're treating symptoms, you'll always be treating symptoms. So I believe our health and wellness is our own responsibility, not your doctor's. And this presentation is primarily for education. So with a lot of emphasis today, we're going to try to finish up hot topics and trends. Wellness differs from health. Health we think is, let me take a picture of you. That's what you look like right now from a health perspective. All of your chemical readings in your body, all of your blood pressure, cardiovascular, brain, everything right now, that is your health, whatever that may happen to be. It can be measured. But wellness is the aspect of doing things to either maintain or improve your health. And the same logic goes. If you're not doing some of these things over time, your health will get worse. So the wellness aspect are the choices we have, the intentions we want to do, the actions we take. And they're constantly changing. What we were doing 10 years ago isn't anything like we're doing now, particularly with the pandemic. Well, let's just jump into this and see how far we get. We ended the last session with wellness collectives. It seems like the word collective is being used all over the place. In fact, more I look at things online, I'm seeing this word collective come up. Collective this, collective that. And I think it probably got a major boost when a lot of the home workforce happened as a result of the pandemic. That pandemic created a major burp in the system. So all of a sudden now we were no longer at work. We didn't have the camaraderie of fellow co-workers, being able to go to lunch with other people who are working next door, whatever it may happen to be. So we were outside of our normal work environment, our normal social environment, because we're all kept inside. Now, with a collective, they're wanting to have that feeling of being connected with other ones. So they correlate correctness with wellness. Little push on the deal, but regardless, it sort of makes sense. So we're seeing the increasing use of the word collective in many, many regards. Increasing use of the term we, meaning collective. It's a sense of shared wellness, the community. One of the terms I thought was very interesting that they're going into social bathing. Not what you're thinking about, but in a sense, it is exactly what you're thinking about. But in most cases in the United States and other countries, your social bathing is in an environment that you're wearing clothes. They have this TV show, Netflix, I believe, also a couple of movies called Thermae Roma. And Thermae Roma was started in Japan 2012, 13, whatever. I think the second movie was done in 14. It's more than just social bathing with swimming pools. It's exercise courts, it's this and that and everything else. I noticed when I was in Japan, if I wanted to go down and get a hot bath and massage, that during a certain period of time on Wednesday night, I could go down there, boom. But on Thursday night, it was family night. Now, in that particular environment, all you wear is a smile. But you get in there and we have the hot tub. They had a big color screen TV in the sauna. We had a huge jacuzzi, I mean, almost 20 feet across. They had little gaming things. The whole exercise was set up where it was just more than a massage. It was a sauna. It was everything. And so that adaptation has taken on the same thing I saw in Germany, not so much with the exercise equipment and everything, but in Germany, again, you start going to a mineral thermae, and I've done this, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week when I was living there the last couple years of the 90s. And again, there, all you wear is a smile. Not totally required, but 99% of the people do. And whether you're and there it's 212 degree sauna, it's very hot, not the 150, 60 degrees that we see in the United States. But they'll have the saunas, they'll have the jacuzzis, they'll have even a large swimming pool, but the pool may be 69 degrees. The saunas may be 212 degrees. But they'll also have a dining area. I remember one in particular set up above the pool. The people sitting there eating may have put a towel on or at least put partially covered, but you stare down into the pool and everybody down there is in the buff. But it's part of the culture there. That's not some culture that we have anywhere else. But taking that same culture of community and applying it to a wider area, there is a lot of collective wellness in being able to interact in that kind of environment. Initially with clothing on, may or may not ever happen to you with regard to taking a bath. Not a big deal. We're just here to report, not to do anything beyond that. Functional fitness, kind of like functional medicine. This is something that's been around for a while, and the technology that's come out in the last several years, you're starting to see more personalized, more data. In other words, I'm wearing a watch that tracks my sleep and blood pressure and a bunch of other things. You're seeing that on Fitbits, on a lot of things that are out there. I have a scale that measures about 15 different aspects of my internal, in other words, my visceral fat, my total body fat, my skeletal mass, all sorts of things. So if I'm looking at concentrating, let's say visceral fat, that to me is my primary focus. Whatever I'm doing, I want that to go down as close to zero as possible. So we're seeing the use of technology to get out there and improve our body's overall health. But we're also looking at functional fitness as a subset of that. So we're looking at body weight exercises. We're not talking about in the gym, we're talking about at home. And I'm going to jump to the bottom of the slide. Matt Fury, I got involved with Matt Fury's philosophy on body weight exercises, I can say almost 20 years ago, maybe a little bit beyond 20 years ago. But mattfury.com, F-U-R-E-Y, Matt, M-A-T-T, F-U-R-E-Y.com, great place to go. But he uses functional fitness, body weight exercise. He has 3 main exercises that he recommends, but they improve your appearance, they reduce pain, increase strength, flexibility, endurance. He works with a lot of professional athletes, football players, wrestlers that ended up in a situation where they're being treated, but they don't particularly want to just be taking pills. They want to be able to remove pain, be more flexible, have more endurance. And so he works with them, and almost in every single case, it's a body weight kind of exercise. So he's focusing on that. I think somewhere back around 2000, he became the first American to ever win a Asian, we call it martial arts world championship. But he specializes in body weight exercises. But we're also seeing incorporating more and more tech, your watches, the equipment you have. They're even having things called fitness wearables. You have a shoe that can measure, how far you in, how much pressure you put on the feet, give feedback. It's more personalized feedback and more accurate feedback to the user. So these are things, I have a wearable here, but it's not quite as accurate as maybe a wearable in my shoes. You're seeing more AI, artificial intelligence, the virtual reality, VR, and a thing called AR. This is our real world. Think of VR from taking what is there as a fictionalized world that you're staring at and applying that same kind of visual stimulus in the real world. With this kind of changeover, with AI being incorporated into doing this, it's adding another dimension to our functional fitness. And we're also seeing a lot more accessibility to disable those people who have problems with being able to do anything at all because of some kind of nature. But the overall focus of functional fitness is I don't have time to go out and run 10 miles. I need that hour and a half. I want to be spent more doing something else. So I'm looking at less gym time, more total time for my life, but being able to get some reward out of it that will benefit me. We're also seeing an increased use in games. People love games. So when you can compete against yourself or against other people, the gaming industry using this functional fitness as part of that. There used to be a Wii thing way back when, and you would basically the only thing you're moving was your arms, bowling or tennis or whatever it may happen to be. But that's been just overshown by AI in so many, many, many ways. We have a baby boomer focus because of aging. We're seeing more people getting older, more younger people wanting to do some of these things so they can get older and be happier. We're also looking at more biohacking going on. And this is more specifically for the individual. They're looking at what genes do you have and how can my food selections actually help my genetic disposition to be healthier, stronger, more flexible, have more endurance. And so biohacking is taking it to a newer level. And we're also seeing more implanted devices. And this may be something just from a computer chip to who knows what, but the devices are underneath our skin and they provide feedback on what's happening in our body. So again, from a functional fitness perspective, we're seeing a lot of this kind of stuff. We talked a couple weeks back or so about circadian rhythm and sleep. And it's a very important thing. Sleep is where we get our bodies to repair themselves. And that first hour or so of really deep sleep is where most of our body repair happens. But circadian health is a topic that, I'll be quite frank, I was not aware of the term circadian health until I started doing research for this program. And circadian health is basically coordinating light in our lives. Now, that doesn't make much sense, does it? But it's more than just adjusting our sleep cycles. That's what we think about. It gets dark, I go to sleep. The light comes up, I wake up. But when you look at the body's master controller, it starts with light. If you go way back thousands of years ago, eons, and people slept, light came up, boom, they went out, foraged for food, hunted, whatever. Gets dark, they go to bed. And so the whole body, our whole DNA, everything was set up with light being the primary focus. Well, they have this thing called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's basically the nucleus that starts in the optic nerve in the brain. And that is a major controller of everything that goes in our body. In fact, the people who invented the term clock genes got a Nobel Prize in 2017. Well, these clock genes are in our DNA, and they're, I love this term, light-timed cellular choreography. So the light hits our optic nerves, and all of a sudden, our body is dancing to the beat of a different drum because we're no longer sleeping. We're out there actually doing stuff. And it creates a lot of genes, a lot of proteins, a lot of things going on. One particular one that they isolate is called the PER, P-E-R gene. It's a protein. And as the light goes away, more darkness occurs, you're getting a buildup of this particular gene. And it works with your sleep cycle, it lowers your blood pressure, it improves your immune response, it adjusts for your hormone production, it takes care of your body, lots and lots and lots and lots of things. That master controller starts when you go to sleep. And so when you wake up, the light's there, the purge gene kind of fades off into the background, boom. Now you're busy doing the types of things you need to be doing on a regular basis. So circadian biology literally cannot be reset. It's set by light. But we're also seeing an increase in circadian travel for personal travel. You're going places and the hotels there, they want to concentrate on relaxation. In other words, they're concentrating on the exhaustion of the guest who's staying. What options do they have? And lots of them. However, when you're looking at a circadian health issue, if you're not adjusting the light to what's going on, it's not quite the same thing. I can have a massage, I can have a sauna, I can have a lot of things that help with my exhaustion, but they're not necessarily helping with my circadian rhythm when I'm from one time zone to another, or just getting home from work and I want to de-stress for a while. So I'd be concerned a little bit about the circadian travel. It sounds like a good deal, might be worthwhile, especially if you're only talking a couple, 3 time zones. If I'm traveling 10 or 12 time zones, and I've done that many times, I'm not sure how effective that is going to be, because it takes a while for that jet lag to adjust. Health concierge services. I was introduced to this maybe a couple years, 3 years before the pandemic. And I went down to a doctor's office. There was a presentation being done. And for a monthly fee, he's my doctor. And the monthly fee was not bad. I mean, it was well under $100. But they also had access to very low cost tests. If I wanted to do a particular blood test, it's on the list. Here it is. Here's the place that will do it. Boom. So I could get a lot of stuff done. But what differs in the concierge service is the fact that they're focusing on you and what is going on in your world from a health perspective. Tell me about your family. Tell me about what you're eating. Tell me about everything that makes up you and your wellness and your health. We're starting to see a lot of shift in this because the doctor availability in the future is going to be limited. The supply and demand, they expect literally in 9 years to be down 120,000 doctors by that point in time, about 9 years from now. We're seeing current growth rates in more younger people. We're seeing aging. In fact, I just read today where in the United States, the expected life has been extended from 1.1 years. It went down a lot with the pandemic, a couple, 3 years in overall life expectancy. Now it's starting to go back up again, trend up, significantly trend up. But again, it's not back up to the pre-pandemic rates. But from a concierge medicine, it's a subscription-based service. It's family and internal focus, internal medicine focus only, because that's the ones that take up a lot of time with most of your basic general practitioners. In the United States, there are about 20,000 practicing concierge service doctors, and it's going up about 5% a year. We're also seeing a significant reduction in prescription meds, because as somebody is understanding who you are, what are you doing, maybe it's an adjustment in a lifestyle, maybe it's more stress management, maybe it's something else that I can get you off of your meds and back into a real life, enjoying your world, your health. About half of the 20,000 practicing doctors have opted out of Medicare because they found that with lifestyle, family history focus, and other alternatives, they don't need to be. In fact, I think they're saying most of the people are making well over $250,000, 260,000 was the figure they use. So they're not seeing a decrease in their personal income because they opted out of Medicare. New term, clinical informatics. They're taking the data that is available and using that personally to say, how can we improve your health? Almost like the biohacking we talked about in the last session, just a few minutes ago. Corporate wellness plans, much more heightened focus on mental health. And there's reasons for that. We'll get into that as we get down. But COVID-19 changed the roadmap for health because a lot of people stayed home. But now people are starting to come back. But the awareness of employee burnout is increasing. It's been around forever. They're investing in stress management, even right there at work. What can they do to help you? You even see some exercise classes, facilities on campus, wherever it may happen to be. More focus on mindfulness, on meditation, and much more. But from the corporate wellness, we're seeing the real focus. If you ask the employees, what do they want? They want stability. They want control. And part of that deals with their health. So if I can give an employee a 10-minute power nap at work, they've measured significant improvements in productivity. If I can educate them as to what to eat at lunch so they don't come back and fall asleep because of too much sugar, maybe that's going to help my improve my workforce, my productivity, my absentee rate, all those kinds of things. There was a study done recently in the United Kingdom where they went to a 4-day work week. Again, focused on stability control. I've been on 4-day work weeks. I love them. But for whatever reason, company management I worked at, and I was pretty high up in company management at that time, but people above me, for whatever reason, I don't know, did not like the 4-day work week, even though we had 4 days this week, 5 days the next week, and then the people who were on 5 days, the other half of the company was working a 4-day work week. So we had 5 days covered both ends of the spectrum. But for whatever reason, I don't know. But a lot of success on health and on productivity. Millennials and Generation Z, they want to focus on emotional and mental health. That's where they want it. However, when I look at it, I don't think workplace toxicity has changed much. I really don't. So it's nice to say we're starting to look in that direction. I applaud them for doing it, but there has to be something that's taken at below the supervisor level because there's a lot of issues out there. Okay. The USA Global TV and Radio Network has a playlist on YouTube. If you go there and look for Talking Heads and look for my name, you'll find out that we've had many, many, many programs, most of them 6 weeks, some 7 weeks, some 8-week programs. And we've talked about heart health, we've talked about nutrition, stress, toxins, and what's happened with our post-pandemic health. We talked about brain health, cancer, both fat management and weight management. Talked about artificial intelligence and health, longevity, lifestyle, and many, many more. But again, my focus is on cause and effect relationships. You treat a cause, you can probably fix a problem if you treat it correctly. But if you're treating symptoms, you're always going to be treating symptoms. So from an aspect of any one of those, whether it's fat management, brain health, toxins, stress, I invite you, look on the USA Global TV and Radio Network playlist on YouTube, go to Talking Heads, and all of those programs are available there for you. Now, most of these things are set up for right around 26.5 minutes. That's what we're trying to do nowadays. So the big thing I want to cover up today in my last couple, 3 minutes is what actually causes disease. Now, if I go to my book called The Joy of Ageless Health, we have several things that everybody's involved in. We have stress, we have toxicity, toxins, we have radiation, we have infection, we have inflammation, we even have diet and expectations. People don't even think about expectations, but a lot of our health, our satisfaction comes from what we expect. If we're constantly being de-emphasized, our expectations are not met, we're not going to be as healthy, we're not going to be as productive. But if you know that if the disease starts at the cellular level in the body, chronic low-level inflammation at the cellular level, those are fairly easy to take care of. And whether it's being caused by stress or toxins or something else, diet, those are things that we can control. And so if you look in that book, it's going to tell you, okay, let's talk about diet. Let's talk about inflammation. Let's talk about toxins or radiation. These are things that every single person has. Now, my wife came down with cancer, and I was saying, well, what caused the cancer? Well, if I go back and I look at, okay, those are stress levels. Those are toxin interface. What things in her diet were affected? And so we went back and said, okay, no problem on that one. No problem. Well, maybe a problem on that one. Maybe a problem on that one. Definitely a problem. So we're looking at, I don't want her to come down with cancer again. How can I take the things that possibly, more than likely, cause cancer, because it's going to be more than one. And let's make changes to our lifestyle so that she is less stressed, she has better food to eat. A lot of things are happening there in that particular environment that we control. It's our lifestyle, it's the choices we make on an everyday basis. This program, Talking Heads, is an awareness education kind of program. We're giving out information on that you can use on a daily basis. So if I'm looking for something about Alzheimer's, I'd say go to my Alzheimer's book. If I'm looking for something about I'm getting ready to retire soon, I want to have a nice, healthier retirement. Longevity Secrets for Healthy Aging is probably a good book to know, because there's two things that really and truly have a major effect on your aging: the telomeres at the end of your DNA and your human growth hormone. And I go into details there about how each of those things you can accelerate the aging process or decelerate the aging process. No matter what you can do, it addresses the subconscious mind, the thing that's in charge of 95% of everything you do. And my newest book, The Essential New Author's Guide, if you want to write and publish your book for free, that's the book you need to have. So given that, I'm going to conclude the wellness hot tops and trends for 2024, and next week we'll come up with something new, and I don't know what that is right now. So with that, I bid you adieu and look forward to seeing you next week on the USA Global TV and Radio Network in participation with the E360 TV network. Bye now.